Hello and welcome to Two Car Pros. Today we're going to show you how to replace the front brake caliper on a Chevrolet Suburban between the years of 1992 and 1999. The first thing we're going to do is remove one of the front wheels that we're going to be replacing the brake caliper on. Next, we're going to take a pair of vice grips that we've donned some tubing on to not break into the cable, and we're going to pinch one of the flexible brake lines as shown here. Next, we need to remove the brake bleeder valve dust cap. Next, we need to place a wrench on the bleeder valve and then a piece of tubing on the nozzle. Next, we need to place the other end of the tubing into a plastic container. Now we need to open the valve and let the brake fluid spill out of the caliper, and then we're going to grab a screwdriver and recess the brake pad back into the caliper. Once the brake piston has recessed all the way into the caliper, we can go ahead and close the brake bleeder valve back up and remove the length of tubing. Next, we need to remove the caliper itself. Next, we need to remove the brake line bolt that holds the brake line to the caliper. Next, we're going to clean off the beading surface for the brake line. Next, we need to compare our old brake caliper to our new one to ensure that it's identical. There's a couple things we need to do to ensure that the caliper is ready to be installed. First, we need to remove this plastic cork that the brake line is going to screw into in a little bit, and then we need to install the slides. And sometimes manufacturers include these two washers where the plastic cork was. It's important to keep these two washers as you're going to need them later. Next, we need to install the new slides into the designated holes. Next, we need to install these rubber end pieces onto the slides we installed just a second ago. Make sure these rubber ends are on nice and tight. Next, we can replace the caliper, making sure when you install the brake line to first put a washer on the bolt, then put the bolt through the brake line, and then put a washer between the brake line and the caliper itself. Next, we need to install the slide bolts that we saw earlier, but first we're going to grease the slide parts and knot the threads and then install them. Now we're going to remove those vice grips we had on the brake line earlier. And that is how you replace a brake caliper, but hold on a minute, you need to also bleed and flush your brake system after a repair like this or your brakes will not work. So click the annotation in the video or go to that video, look in the description for a link. After you flush and bled your brake system, we need to replace the wheel that we removed earlier, making sure to bolt it on in a star pattern with proper torque specifications. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please visit twocarpros.com.